Hi there everybody, I'm just doing a bit of a video on this whole hoo-ha regarding Oprah Winfrey, who apparently has offended every atheist on the world, except me apparently, by supposedly telling a woman in an interview that she's not an atheist. The interview in question, which was with this lady who supposedly swam from Cuba to Florida, blah-de-blah-de-blah, whatever. Now, having looked at some of the things that were said, this is interesting. This woman who says she's an atheist, what she says is, to me, my definition of God is humanity, and is the love of humanity, which sounds to me a bit pantheistic. And as we go on, Oprah Winfrey is sort of defines, she seems to be defining God as the awe and the mystery and so on, and not the bearded guy in the sky, which reminds me of a quote by someone else, which I'll come to in a moment. But also, what I can gather here, this woman, she seems to believe, she does believe in the idea of a soul. She seems to believe in an afterlife, so she has some idea of some belief in the supernatural, which is interesting. What Oprah Winfrey actually said to her, she says, I wouldn't call you an atheist, is what she says. She isn't saying you're not one, she's saying she wouldn't call her one. I don't know if that's actually offensive, saying that you wouldn't categorise someone like that, especially if they seem to be describing themselves as a pantheist, which that's also seems to be what Oprah Winfrey is. I don't know what her religious beliefs are. I don't know how. I could Google them, I suppose, but the reason I've not done it is because I'm trying to go with purely on the information given us in this interview. Yeah, she just seems to have a very pantheistic view of the universe as well, seeing as she seems to see God as some sort of metaphor for the universe or for the wonders of the universe. Similarly, she says at one point, rather bizarrely, she says she likes to say hello to trees, which seems to imply she seems to think nature has some kind of personification to it. But what I want to come to here is, of course, one of YouTube atheism's favourite people, which of course is Carl Sagan. Now, there's a few things Carl Sagan said. One of which, this is one of the most important ones. The idea that God is an oversized white male with a flowing beard who sits in the sky and tallies the fall of every sparrow is ludicrous. But if by God one means the set of physical laws that govern the universe, then clearly there is such a God. This God is emotionally unsatisfying. It does not make much sense to pray to the law of gravity. So we can see there that Carl Sagan actually was willing to entertain a very similar idea of God that Oprah Winfrey seems to be entertaining here, at least based on what's been said in this interview. And that, I think, is something some people overlook. A quote that I find it odd that a lot of YouTube atheists seem to make the assumption Carl Sagan was actually one of them. He is quoted as having said, I am not an atheist. An atheist is someone who is certain that God does not exist, someone who has compelling evidence against the existence of God. I know of no such compelling evidence, because God can be relegated to remote times and places and to ultimate causes. We would have to know a great deal more about the universe than we do now to be sure that no such God exists. To be certain of the existence of God and to be certain of the non-existence of God seem to me to be the confident extremes in a subject so riddled with doubt and uncertainty as to inspire very little confidence indeed. Now, if Carl Sagan had said that, if YouTube had been around when Carl Sagan had said that, I think Bionic Dance, among other people, the head would have fucking exploded. She'd have blown up at him. Because, of course, Carl is using there what we now popularly call the term Gnostic atheism, as though it's synonymous with atheism. By the definitions we have now, we say agnostic atheism and Gnostic atheism. Carl Sagan would probably fit into the agnostic atheist bracket. That seems to be what he entertains. He didn't believe in a deity, he was well known for that. But he didn't claim any certainty of it, as we see there. He would perhaps fit more into that bracket. A lot of people, atheists, certainly on YouTube and certainly online in general, don't seem to either be aware of the fact Carl Sagan wasn't a self-identifying atheist, or just don't seem to think it was important. I think R. Ra acknowledged it very briefly once. I've seen him, but even then he seemed to think Carl Sagan was afraid to identify as an atheist for fear of the social repercussions. Maybe that's true, I don't know. Maybe he just did feel, maybe he didn't really accept these definitions of agnostic atheism and gnostic atheism. Perhaps he just didn't accept those. Only in recent times I've really started to hear those terms. Carl Sagan died in the 90s, I certainly didn't hear those terms back in those days. So I just want to throw that out there. This is why I don't really find what Oprah Winfrey said particularly offensive. She just seems to be identifying this woman's beliefs as pantheism rather than atheism. Personally, what I'd say, and this is purely personally, I don't really see a lot of difference between pantheism and atheism. Pantheists believe the universe is God. So basically pantheists believe in the universe. Well, I believe in the universe as well. So, in a sense, you could call me a pantheist, but I really don't see the point of, calling myself that. I'm an atheist. That's it, because I don't believe there is any kind of personal God. If God is a synonym for the universe, that just means we believe in the universe. The term pantheist and atheist just mean the same thing then. So I hope that's giving some people some food for thought. Let me know what you think as always. Goodbye.